Greetings, Invader Scum. This is Pincognito, aka Pinko. This is number 2 in a half hour or so in the life of a finger. This is a soul level 60 Invader, plus 7 weapon upgrades. Got the Corvian Scythe, the Corvian Great Knife, and the Crow Quills. This is my Corvian Invader. So of course I've got the Impeccable Fashion and therefore the Untrue Dark Ring. Also the Obscuring Ring, Ring of Favor, Prisoner's Chain. Stats on the right. Nothing terribly optimized. I think I've got 12 intelligence because I was trying to use the storyteller staff, but the stats get the job done. So we're going to keep the intro nice and short this week. So I hope you enjoy the invasions, and let's get to it. So we start off this week in a Smouldering Lake, which is a decent place to invade, although the spawn points can be a little garbage. So this one, if the host hasn't opened that invisible door there, it's not a great spawn point. The only other path is to the lava pit or the drop down ahead. You can't get through this invisible door unless the host has triggered it. And so here you actually take fall damage on this drop. And I tried a ring swap, and I somehow managed to unequip the ring during the fall, which you usually can't do. Usually you can't unequip or change rings while you're falling, but there I guess the fall is short enough you can do it. So I managed to both ring swap and take damage. So I'm still a total noob at ring swaps. So I find the host and the phantom. The phantom is the NPC Sorig, aka fake Tarkus. You really shouldn't feel too threatened if the host is summoned an NPC phantom. They are to a phantom dumb as a box of rocks, so you can lead them wherever you want. They'll follow you once they get line of sight on you, and so they're very useful for essentially dragging hosts into the mobs, because the NPC will follow you almost regardless, particularly if you use Alluring Skulls. You can get them to go pretty much anywhere you want. So I have to be a little careful here because I've got 2 Alter Greats. Now the Corvian Scythe has very deceptive range and very good range, so it's not a bad option actually right here, as long as I'm careful. Yeah, I don't get out in time to avoid fake Tarkus's swipe there. Yeah, I get greedy, try to get a third swing in, and then I finish off Sorg. So you recall last time I was complaining about my deficiencies in fighting greatswords, and here's a very good option when facing a greatsword, or Alter Great in particular. That'll work. Yeah, daggers, Corvian Great Knife. If you can get in ahead of their hyper armor frames, either before the first swing or between the first and second swing, you can annihilate people with Alter Greats. So same spawn point, again in Smouldering Lake. Lava pit to the right, and alas, the host has again not triggered this invisible door, so we have to contend with my greatest challenge on this level. The 6-foot drop. This time, like a total pro, I pull off the ring swap. See how fast I'm learning here? Just one invasion later. So it took me a long time to find this host, and spoiler, it's a solo host. So I wanted to talk briefly about, if you're new to invading, the solo host can be kind of a tricky thing, because sometimes solo hosts are tougher than a host with a couple phantoms, or a phantom, only because that tends to mean they're a more confident player. But my advice in general is, if you come across a solo host, you don't have to treat it as a duel. Here I waved instead of bowing because I don't want them to think that I think healing is inappropriate, because I don't really like that kind of approach to invasions. But if you're new to invading, I do encourage you to just to go ahead and engage one-on-one with solo hosts rather than kind of trying to use the level or trying to use the enemy mobs, just because it's good practice, and you have to be able to take out solo opponents. And fighting hosts is a good as means of practice as any. Crazy phantom range on that Corvian Great Knife. That's good stuff. So things had kind of quieted down in Smouldering Lake, so we switched over here to central Urcil. So no enemies are aggroed over here, which, given where I spawned, almost certainly means that they're just hanging out by the bonfire. So we gotta go check out what's awaiting us here. So it appears to be a solo host. It's not always the case, even when it appears that way, but and it appears to be away from controller solo host. Give him a few throwing knives to try to see if the player is nearby the TV to notice that their player is taking damage, but nothing. Like I said before, I don't really like killing the host in this situation because I just don't find it very fun. Although I also don't find just hanging out here very fun, so I'm looking for something else to throw at him besides the dung pie. It's not really my style. Can't really think of anything, so I decided to leave the host a parting gift. I'm certainly not leaving this person embers or moss or blossoms or anything of that, anything good. So I find some rubbish and I leave that little parting gift, and I'm on my way. So that away from controller host kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, so I switched locations, and I happened to get a catacombs invasion, which was actually kind of shocking for my soul level and weapon upgrade level. So I'm not sure if this host was just deliberately playing kind of off of the kind of general soul level you'd find here, but regardless, ended up with a fun little duel. So the Corvian scythe is pretty good against the greatswords, although I'm playing pretty stupidly right here. You can't trade with a greatsword, but you can outspace them. I'm not sure if that holds true for every greatsword, but it does in this fight. Look at that range. And here I was totally willing to take that trade. The host was so low on health. Alright, after that nice little palate cleanser in the catacombs, I returned to central Urcil. Here I totally misread the enemy aggro and what that meant. So while my character's wandering around, this is the first invasion I think so far in this series where you're going to see unless I'm just totally misremembering from the last the last one, where you'll see a password summon phantom. And so these are the phantoms you see with a little like blue, I don't know if it's a check or sword or whatever it is, a little blue symbol next to their name, which means they were summoned in by a password from the host. In theory, they're supposed to have their HP and attack rating kind of downscale to that of the host, although in practice it's very hard to see how that works exactly. So here you're going to hear a sound right there, very subtle, but that's the sound of the white branch, which means that the host is hiding. Do you see a statue that looks slightly different than the others? It's usually really obvious where people are hiding. And I'm pretty sure the game actually gives you the audio cue when you approach the area where they use the white branch. I don't think it's contemporaneous, because every time a host has used a white branch, I've heard it as I approach the location. So I think you get the audio cue just as you approach where they are, not necessarily when they used it. So I make a very poor strategic choice here, which is right now I've got them at a choke point, which is very useful. Because since there's two of them, it's in my interest to keep them both in front of me. It's very hard to manage two people if you let them get on either side of you, which I've just done here. So this is not great. I can't control the terrain, I can't control like the terms of engagement when there's so much room for them to operate. I would have been much better off just staying at the choke point for as long as possible. Now here, look at the damage that Password Summon Phantom is doing. That's a straight sword, and they would have killed me in 5 hits. I'm just not sure how that scaling really works. Alright, it's the main event this week. It's the last invasion. It's a long one. It's a good one. So I spawn in, well, it's time to get down to work because I've got 2 opponents right off the bat, and a third comes in like seconds later. So here, I don't really have much of a chance to even try to use that choke point because the host is on me so closely. Now, I'm immediately right where I died last time, and I'm cognizant of this, and so I make my way just back over here, which it's not as good a choke point, but it still allows me to manage where these people are. And there, I didn't even notice during the invasion that the host was that close to dying. If I had, there's a chance I could have ended this really quickly, but I'm able to get the Sombro, so that's perfectly fine. Now just compare the damage that Phantom is doing compared to the Password Summon one from the last invasion. It's not even close. It's like, I mean, we don't know the weapon upgrades and the infusions and the stats and all that, but it's a huge difference. Here I get nudged as I'm falling off the side, so I fall on my butt, and I almost trap myself. I should have left this area immediately. I almost get trapped on the wall, but I'm able to get out. That could have been the end of it right there if I hadn't gotten off that corner. So here again, this is not a great space to fight. I'm willing to trade for a little while here, but this is not an ideal place to stay. So blue's on the way. This blue runs right past me because I'm on the Untrue Dark Ring. I take a quick peek over here, and I can see that the shortcut to the boss is not open. So my initial assumption is that they have not gone through the lower part of this level, so I start racing that way to get to the mobs. And I take a quick peek back, and I see that the elevator shortcut is actually open already. And so if I go down the other way to the lower part of the level, they're just going to make a run straight for the boss. So I have to go this way. This is the only way I can impede their progress. Elite ring swap of the Silver Cat ring. Good stuff. So here, the reason I'm running back into the level up top is because I actually started to doubt whether I had seen properly that the shortcut to the boss, those 2 gold doors, were actually closed. So I began to worry that they were actually open and that I was leaving open a path of escape for the host, but in fact they were closed. So I know they have to come this way in order to finish the level. So it's on now. There they are. So the mobs in this room are really not strong, but they are a distraction, which is what I need. A distraction gives me opportunities to attack. A distraction gives me opportunities to evade attacks. They're very poor roll for me to get away from the great sword. Now see there, the hitbox on the scythe is usually very advantageous. There, just totally missed the white. Now see, even this greatsword is doing less damage than that white from the last invasion was doing. Getting the hell out of dodge here after I killed the blue. So that was fine. I took out one of the phantoms. I've got 4 Estus left. It's not bad at all. Although here I take serious damage from the host because I'm just not... I'm being sloppy. I'm not spacing well. Now here I'm trying to slowly lower them up the staircase because I've got friends this way. And they do not. Well, actually they do, but there are NPCs they can summon, but I can keep that from happening, I think. And the Pontiff Knights can run some serious interference. So here, the host is in a dead run. He's absolutely panicking. Terrible, terrible bomb throw. I needed to unlock and arc it, and I did neither. Here I'm just able to clip the host as the elevator is going up. So I backed off here because I was a little afraid of a plunge attack from the Phantom. Although I didn't need to back off this far. And then the host comes back down. I maybe could have killed him right there, although maybe that actually was a point in which the White Phantom would have done a plunge attack on me. So now I give chase back to the bonfire. And my recollection is I was feeling really confident about finishing this fight. I do a quick check to make sure they're not ambushing me when I turn around there. Now, I don't play this really smart. I was kind of enjoying the Scythe versus Scythe battle that I was having with the White, and you can see the host hasn't healed. And so I know, I assume they have no Estus at this point. So I'm kind of content to fight with the White. Not super smart for reasons that are obvious and will become concrete shortly. So I'm also kind of hoping I can parry the White. He's been spamming R1 a lot, and it's pretty easy, really easy to get a set of parries on a Scythe. But there, he knows to check his swing, and the host to summon a Phantom. Now I've got 30 seconds from the time he hit that sign to take care of the host. I've only got 1 Estus, and a new Phantom with full health is going to be a serious problem for me. It's at least a good chance I lose the invasion if that second White shows up. So here I'm having trouble catching him with the Scythe. I was hoping he would keep his shield up so the Scythe would just chip through. So I switched to the Great Knife. Second White is there. I'm in desperation mode. That felt so good. I was so happy with this fight. Some parting R1s for the White. Just a beautiful, fun invasion. That's why I play this game. It's just so much fun. Thanks for watching.